excited.
Vivian, yeah.
It's here number four.
She will. She'll be thrilled.
This is amazing.
It
This one is,
came out so.
this one is, it's pretty
On the
amazing.
boat.
Wow.
Hey, how are you? Yeah.
No, yeah, I spread us out. I had more online than I thought I was going to, so, I set out more than needed.
God, we are so avant-garde.
Thank you.
I literally, yesterday we were like, oh, we got like 24 left, like, it just feels like we should find a few folks that might appreciate them, and I was like, Arts Council,
There.
that's the right.
Yeah. Love it. You.
Let's see, it's 7:02. The only person, I knew Karen couldn't make it, everyone else is here, but Fran did say she was gonna come. So, wait, did I just hear the dog? There she is. Task is everybody who said they could come and sit here.
Awesome.
So until I will just go ahead and run the meeting until we have a chair. So we'll go ahead and call ourselves to order. Our very first Arts Council. I'm so excited. Grab a seat. And we have everybody but Karen here, so that's fabulous. I thought the first thing we might want to just do really quickly, I got the benefit of reading everything that you sent. Well, some of you sent a little blurb and some of you sent a bunch to the selectmen. But we're going to be working together, so I thought we should just go around and introduce ourselves and sort of talk about briefly, because we want to not be here all night, but just briefly kind of your thing, why you're here. So, and I'll just start with myself. Being the Economic and Community Development Coordinator, Michelle Bora, and starting in Arts Council has been a mission of the Economic Development Committee for a while, and they dabbled with it a few years back, and then it didn't really take off, and then we had some meetings last year to kind of float the idea, and we did it. We got it off the ground, and here we are. We actually have a page on the town website, which we'll talk about, and your names are all there, and you were appointed at a meeting, so official. And actually, I had a budget meeting today, and they put in a budget for next year's line item for a clerk for the Arts Council, and they were talking about what kind of money. So all exciting stuff. And I guess the only thing I would say is that I don't have a huge background in the arts, except for helping with my children, participating in all their various arts as they were growing up. But I recognize the value it brings to our town, not just for economic growth or vitality, but just for the health and happiness of our community. So I'm happy to support the work that you all do. All right.
Super.
Where to go?
Sure. I'm Kent Burnham. I'm the Director of Theater Arts up at the Frederick Gunn School. I'm in my second year there. I am married to Tracy Liz Miller, who is up there on the screen. We have a daughter, Vivian, who is 11 years old and goes to Washington Montessori. Yeah, when Michelle kind of reached out to a few people about, or I heard this was going on, I thought it'd be great to get involved. I feel we're very invested in the community, and in our short time here, we're excited to be here and be part of, a growing council and everything like that, just being involved. I'm just a big supporter of the arts too, and also championing the work of others, and I love doing that. So anytime that we can be a little more connected, I think it's great. So thanks.
I'm Fran, excuse me, I'm Fran Kelty. I own the Hickory Stick Bookshop. I indicated an interest in this committee primarily because so often in terms of cultural committees, the literary arts are not well represented, and I wanted to do that. And I also previously served on the Northwest Connecticut Arts Council for 10 years. So I've had some experience with this, but I think this is very exciting, and an umbrella organization in the community, I think, will be very beneficial.
Great, thank you.
I'm Abdul Ballester, and transported from the Caribbean to New England. Who would have thought, or live it up to revolutions, I better known in town as the Mojito King,
There's worse things.
because that's what I have done as a fundraising event for the Washington Arts Association, where I have been on board all these years. And we very successful have a following, now, whether it is the mojitos or the
That
dance floor, or the music, but we do have a following, but I've been always involved with the art. First of all, I raised Damien Wetzel, who everybody knows is the president of Juilliard, and was the most beautiful male dancer in New York City Ballet, the star of New York City Ballet for 22 years, And so I had to be involved with the arts, taking them to the conservatory in New England when we lived in Boston. And ballet, symphony, arts, everything. So and what most people don't know about me is that I spent 27 years working at the United Nations for an international criminal tribunal, which is very different from the arts. It's a little bit more macabre, but it became a reality. And that's when I left. We do have an international criminal court at the Hague, which it's the opposite of the World Court of the Hague, which was a world court that dealt with conflicts between states. And it was very difficult to try a state for their crimes. So after the Nuremberg trials, the accused always said that they committed the crime because they had superior order. But the judgment at Nuremberg was, you have a conscience as an individual. If you commit a crime, you're guilty. So after the trials, they recommended to the United Nations to work on implementation for an international criminal court that will deal with individuals. And that's the one that we have now at the court. So my work was finished. I put a little grain in for a more peaceful world, and that was probably my greatest accomplishment.
It's pretty remarkable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am Kirsten Leon. I am one of the general managers of Globulus, based here in town for most of its 50 years. I have not been based in town all that long by comparison, but I think I'm on year 8 this year, maybe. And I have been involved in dance my whole adult life, as well as a kid, of course, but as an arts manager and administrator, touring as a state manager for about 12 years before coming to Globulus and starting a family in Washington. So I've been to the Hague, but that's all I got.
Good for you. I love Amsterdam.
Yes.
I love the Netherlands. Great country.
I'm Victoria Rowan. I work as a communications consultant. My typical clients are in the arts. They're typically working on their first books. But I also have been supporting and working with Colin Brown and Jane Whitney, and also getting involved with the Old Stone Meeting House in New Preston. And I also have a background in New York City producing a lot of events. So my background in the arts is around producing events that showcase artists, and also are sort of in the edutainment category, like panels of critics or curators. I used to do a lot of pitch paloozas with my workshops, my writing workshops. Because I'm just a big believer not only in the arts elevating all of us, but also being a really great way to have an unconventional but rewarding career. So I also believe in I think it's great that this is under the economic development arm of the town, so I think it's not just cute or nice, I think it's really essential, and I think it's a really great opportunity in an area with not much industry that people could actually be earning a living and support the arts. So I'm excited to be on this committee. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. And we've got 3 on Zoom, so whoever would like to go first. It looks like Simon's not muted, so you get to go first.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be part of this group, and it's really nice to be welcomed. I think I'm the newbie in the group. I'm Executive Director at Washington Art Association. I'm from Old England to New England, to tag on, to add on to what Abdo was saying. But I'm a musician by training, and 23 years ago, I started Salt Marsh Opera Company, and also Calvary Music School, which was an outreach program of a church where I was organist, having just moved here back in 1999. So I can have seen firsthand what a community can do when gathered around an artistic venture like a school or an opera company. So I'm really excited to be part of this group and to see what we can do together to make the town of Washington the place to go for the arts. So thank you for the warm welcome.
Excellent, thank you. All right, how about Tracy?
Hello, everyone. I'm Tracy Liz Miller, and I am in my 2nd year here at Washington, existing with Kent Burnham, who's there in person. And I'm at home with the said
Sounds
daughter.
exciting.
Yes, I am at home with the said daughter. I'm also a theater maker. I teach acting, voice and movement, and physical theater and devising, and a theater ethics class at University of Rhode Island. And my full-time teaching career has sort of pulled me away, as well as motherhood has pulled me away from professional work, but I am feeling a little positive about continuing some of that in this neck of the woods. And Kent and I founded a 501c3 that will exist on the campus of Frederick Gunn School. The Gunn School is really committed to summer programming that is centered on the arts. So they have the Litchfield Jazz Festival. So our proposal to be in residence for a couple of weeks in June was well met. And we are going to transfer what we started when we were in Pauling, and that will support new work development, companies that need rehearsal space, professional actor training in theatrical violence, and perhaps intimacy education and choreography. So, but we're really open to what could possibly be there. So that, and as well as, honestly, the creative economy of this area, I think it already is fairly healthy, but I think it's a little bit untapped in that there are so many artists who have second homes here, and then which I sort of knew of, but now I realize that there are many artists who make their home here, and that that is marvelous, and that, as Kent said, really attracts us to our new home, and happy to put down roots and support it.
Great, thank you. And Sarah.
Hi, my name is Sarah Clementi. I also live on the campus of the Frederick Gunn School. I did teach, I'm a stay-at-home mom now, but my husband teaches math, and he actually teaches an improv class with Kent. And I basically saw this, and I'm coming from the perspective of being a parent, and my kids absolutely love the arts. This afternoon, we were in Kent's rehearsal watching his musical. My kids just wanted to sit there and watch the kids sing. So we are always like all over any opportunity that comes up in town for exposure to the arts, because I think it has such amazing impact on kids. So that's I'm basically a lover of the arts, and my kids are, and my husband is, and we just are excited to, hopefully grow more opportunities, particularly for kids also.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. So I feel so fortunate. Our town is so fortunate to have such a wonderful, diverse group of people coming together. We've got not all of the arts represented, but a pretty good smattering. So I think that's great. What I wanted to do first is just kind of take care of the business operating part of this before we dive into the whole arts part. So at that last sort of brain thinking meeting that we had, and when we were trying to get this off the ground, staff came from the Northwest Arts Council and shared with us some possible like bylaws. But in conversation, we had several meetings with the Board of Selectmen because they're very concerned about what this would look like. And so the organization that they were comfortable with was that the Arts Council is a subcommittee of the EDC, which we have examples of that in town. So the Sustainability Committee is a subcommittee of planning. And the EDC is technically a subcommittee of planning as well. I think there's another where it's a subcommittee. So it's not as official. The members are appointed by the Board of Selectmen. It operates just like a commission in that we have to post the agendas and take minutes and post that. So everything we do is the work of the people. It's public, but we can just sort of come up with what they consider, what they prefer to is sort of like guidelines for operation. We don't have to go to a town meeting and pass an ordinance about how we're going to operate. We can just set up some guidelines so that we have an understanding and operate that way, which I think is great because yeah, town meetings, that's a lot. It's a lot. Writing an ordinance is a lot, which is what you need to do to start a commission. And according to the lawyers, there's really not a difference when it comes to like the minutes and agendas between a committee and a commission, but commission members are elected. But yeah, so it's just a whole like another level and stuff. So I was glad we didn't need to do that. So so a couple of things then to just talk about the meeting. So we're a subcommittee, and we already has a page set up on the town website where our minutes and agendas will be posted, and all of your names are there, and then there's nothing else. So whatever we agree on tonight, I will put up, I can put just on the homepage an explanation or a subcommittee of the EDC. We should talk about how often we want to meet, what time is a good meeting, time, and I passed out the mission statement that we worked on last year. Thank you. When we were having sort of the ad hoc group, we came up with this mission statement, and we can choose to adopt it. We can adopt it for now. I can throw it on the website so we have at least one thing up there. And we can always change it later if we want. So I don't know if we want to spend a lot of time on it. A lot of the people here participated. I know Kirsten, you did. Actually, maybe nobody else.
I think that may be true.
Yeah.
I mean, half the people there were from clubs.
Yes, that's true.
So-
That's true. It was like, you guys were like, yeah. So if we're okay with going with this mission statement for now, that unless somebody really wants to.
It's great. Yeah,
Sorry.
no, it's
It's
very
very broad.
comprehensive.
Yeah, it's very, that was the intent. All right, so we'll go with that mission. Let's talk about the meetings. Monthly, what do we have thoughts on? I was thinking about it, and I was just gonna throw out, there are 9 members on the committee or the council. So it seems like with everybody's schedule, 100% attendance is probably not ever gonna happen, so if you meet monthly. Business will still move forward, and if you've got 6 or 7 there at each meeting. That's enough to kind of continue the movement forward. If you meet quarterly and you miss one, you kind of like you're out for 6 months, so. I don't know, that was kind of my thinking, or bi-monthly, I mean, we could kind of decide.
I like the idea of monthly personally, especially being a new organization to start to get a little momentum and a little more discussion happening. I think that would be advantageous. I don't think meeting once a month feels like a burden at all. And I think that there's a lot going on, especially as we move into this new year, in the spring, and now all the summer activity that's happening in this area. So I'd be fine with that. I'm personally fine with that.
I'm fine with
Anybody any other thoughts?
I mean, it depends on what our first initiatives are. I'm just concerned that maybe monthly is not often enough, depending on what you're trying to do. But I think it's a great beginning.
Well, you could have special meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's
in
some
between.
meetings that have, yeah, that's true.
And also we've got, I know with the sustainability committee and actually the EDC as well, because I work with both of those. If there's a particular project, there's often a subcommittee of like 2 people that will carry it, do the actual work and then bring it back to the council to vote on or decide. But so if somebody's writing articles or gathering quotes for printing something or what, that work can happen, and then it just is brought back. So yeah, and I would imagine if we do get to the point where we're planning an event or something, yeah, there'll need to be more communication, but I think that's fine. Any other thoughts? All right, monthly it is, so we're gonna go with monthly. And let's see, meetings and procedure. Well, we should try to pick one at
The
a
second
time.
something of every month kind of thing.
Yeah, I know, which is a challenge. It is a challenge, and we might,
If we have to work sort of around what town meetings exist, right?
yeah, and I can pull up a town calendar if we want, or we can just. I could put together a doodle and we could kind of look at that, I can throw out some evenings that are available, but I thought this evening was available at an earlier time, but then there's a delay of demolition committee. They just weren't on the tap, who knew? And they meet on whatever today is Thursday.
It's Thursday.
The
In
second
between, yeah,
Thursday.
it's the second Thursday.
What
I think the
about the
selectmen are
third?
first and third.
How many demolitions get to, is that like a monthly thing that there's?
Yeah, so
always
that
something
was
to-
the idea. Because they're kind of new and they're still hammering out some of their procedures, so they're meeting monthly even if they don't have applications in front of them.
Okay.
I did ask though, because we were almost on board for a 5:30 meeting, which I think was preference of most people, and then that went on the calendar for 5 o'clock.
Do
So
we,
anyway, so
do we
I'll,
have a preference as to time?
so when on the polls that I got back, it was interesting, it was almost kind of evenly split, and not everybody can make it during the day. I'll look, so for preferences. So a couple are earlier, couple late, prefer later, and then a few people said all the times were fine. Well, because I threw out 4, 5:30 and 7. So I was trying to hit like the end of the workday, right after the workday, and then after kid pickup and dinner, right? Right? I mean, those are kind of the three times. So is 4 o'clock, I forget who said later was better. Like, is that just never an okay for somebody?
It's real difficult for me.
Yeah.
Personally,
It-
I
yeah,
don't-
it
that's either
varies
thing, yeah.
depending on the season and what
Yeah.
projects are going on. or
Yeah,
what after
right.
school.
I know. it's
It
like-
just, it would usually, like, even if we don't have an after school all the time, there's a good chance that there would be a 5 o'clock pickup or something like that, that we would have to then, we wouldn't be available for very long.
Right.
I often have rehearsal from 3:30 to 5:30 right after our academic day, so,
Right, that.
You know,
that
and
makes-
that- yeah.
it's Immediately
Yeah.
after. Just out of
I guess-
curiosity, how about morning? Is
I
morning?
think it's-
Oh, no,
No.
Because.
I'm not a morning person.
Not too far.
Oh, thank you.
Even like 10?
I resign right now, you know.
10 o'clock?
No, not a morning
Wow.
person.
Well,
7, 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. when-
Those are all morning.
I must be thinking PM.
Yeah, yeah, 7 is perfect.
7
Yeah.
AM?
No, right now.
7 works really well in terms of getting everything else
All
out
right.
of the way.
All right, so it looks like we might just need to stick with evening with rehearsals and work and sleeping and all. Hey, you know, priorities, I get it. I'm not really a morning person either, but
But you can manage.
You're up by 10 now. You're up by 10.
I have to work by 9. and my hair is still wet, but I'm here. All right, so we'll look at that 7 o'clock time. I think that might open up a few other days. Simon, I know you have rehearsals in the evening, so you're limited to a couple of, I feel like Thursdays, maybe, I forget.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have weekly rehearsals. So that everybody knows, I live in Old Mystic, so I drive 100 miles every day each way to work. So, so on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, I catch rehearsals on the way back on the shoreline. So, Thursdays, of course, I'm also on about 3 other boards as well. So Thursday seems to be my board meeting. So it depends on which Thursday. I mean, Thursday and Friday are the only evenings that I have, unfortunately. So sorry about that.
Yeah, that's all right. Friday evenings. That's a big ask.
No.
Yes, I know.
Dinners. Yeah, so and the selectmen's meetings, believe it or not, they're at 5:30, but they're almost always done by 6, so we can go
But-
after that.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
Michelle, if I can say that, of course, those Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are all seasonal. So as we get towards the summer months, those nights open up. So, you know, I might just sort of bow out for certain months if I just can't do it.
All
She's
right,
fine.
well, we'll look at those Thursdays first, because the selectmen are every other, and so people usually stay away from the Thursdays. Which is why this time was available, so this might be our time. What are we, the second Thursday at 7?
You try it.
Let's,
Good
we'll go with that and see what happens. We
So-
can always move it. Okay, let's go.
It's never happened.
Thursdays, yeah, very good.
Second Thursday, right?
And that's the fourth
Second.
And
Thursday.
that's the 4th Thursday, so.
Yeah.
So the second Thursday is what we're looking
We're
at?
shooting
That's
for the
great.
second Thursdays at 7. I think I'm away and.
Maybe.
Oh, I know, I mean, right, everybody.
Here, I'm gonna look at a calendar.
But we'll start with this. We'll go with that. All right, so I'm looking here at all the things. We've got, we have our membership figured out, meetings, procedures, record keeping is minutes and agendas, and I will be doing that until the next budget. So the budget will start July 1. And if assuming that the clerk goes through and they hire somebody, then we'll have somebody else to do that. But I still plan on participating and facilitating and whatever. And this says then duties and responsibilities, but that's kind of covered in our mission. So I think we're good. I'll just sort of codify what we've discussed and put that on the website as our guidelines and procedures, and I think we're good to go. So the next thing for the council is to elect a chair. And the just so everyone knows, the role of the chair is to pretty much set the agenda. I will type it up and post it and everything, but to discuss the agenda. I mean, that's usually the role of the chair, is to discuss the agenda and then to be sort of the figurehead for communications. Let's say the Arts Council wants to write a letter in support of something that the planning commission is doing, or writes a letter to the newspaper. You can either sign everybody, or you can sign, the chair on behalf of the Arts Council or something like that. That's the other role a chair has. I mean, the chair can be as involved or not, or minimally involved. So it's kind of up to their enthusiasm. So I guess, I don't know if anyone wants to, usually you nominate someone to be chair, but I don't think anybody's probably discussed it, so I feel like if you're willing and you wanna throw your name out there, has anybody thought about that?
I mean, I'm a little bit in the dark about exactly what the tasks are, but I'd be game to, you know, if that serves, I don't think I can do that.
Thank you.
I thoroughly support Victoria as the chair.
I second that motion, second the motion, good, yeah,
Oh,
good.
Fantastic, all right, well, so we have one nomination, and it's been
I move the
seconded.
nominations be closed.
Friends, applause. Oh, see, you see that?
Fran, close the nomination.
Veterans on the table. Okay, so, all in favor of Victoria being our chair?
Aye.
I,
I'm gonna call that unanimous. And I can either turn over the meeting to our new chair, or I can just continue on with the
That's like
things.
a pop.
Well, that's normally how it would go, but since it's our first one, it's like just not.
I'll defer to you on this.
Yeah, okay. I got it covered. Congratulations.
All right,
and thank
that's
you
great.
very much. We appreciate that. So we're really, that was like the big business. Like we did it, we are here, and so now we can talk about what we want to do moving forward. And I've just got a couple of things that I brought. Let's see where to start first. Well, first, this is just with an announcement. So from the Northwest Arts Council, and if you're not on their mailing list, I suggest that you sign up for their email. But the CT Humanities announced $8.5 million in grants, and the Northwest corner did very well, but in particular Washington.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to read out that the grants in Washington went to the After School Arts Program, Common Ground with Jane Whitney, Gun Memorial Library and Museum, Institute for American Indian Studies, Palobolis, the Judy Black Memorial Park and Gardens, and the Washington Art Association. So yay, Washington, yay to, congratulations to all those organizations for getting the paperwork in. It's a lot. And I just think it shows that we've got some knowledge here. We've got people who know how this works. And so one of the things that I feel will be helpful, a role that the council can play is for people who are new, you know, and sort of helping bring them along, show them the ropes, make them aware of funding opportunities, and working amongst each other. I mean, between Palobolis and ASAP, I mean, you guys are on it, you know, everything, but who knows, maybe somebody here will have some other connections and we'll hear of some sort of grant opportunity. So congratulations. And I think, yeah.
It's a tremendous new funding source that has not included eligibility of the performing arts previously.
Really?
For state
Well, I will say at the moment, there is money out there and will be for a couple of years in the state. It is all of that COVID money, whether it was through the infrastructure bill, which it sounds crazy to bring up at arts, but what we're finding is so the federal government pumps so much money to the states that it's funding some of the bridge and road work that they used to have to fund, and so it's freeing up money for other things. So there is money at the moment. I don't know that it'll always be like that.
It's
Yeah.
half of what it was the year before, so at that rate, even if it disappeared fast.
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
Take it all.
but yeah, go for it while you can. So, yes.
Michelle, does it make any sense? I mean, you were talking about our blank page on the website. But could we announce the fact that all these organizations have received this funding?
I think that's a great idea. Yes.
The fact that you showed up with the keyboard and the pad, I think this is a really good sign.
Oh, boy, they're on to you. Yeah, so announce grants. And it's the municipal website, and you guys all, you know, artists, you know, it's boring. But I can put some visually pleasing things there. It's not easy to post them, But, you know, if you pass something along to me, I can figure out how to get it on there. So we could make the page look better, just saying. So I have faith in you all. I brought this postcard. I threw it out there for a couple reasons. This was from last summer. The EDC has put this together for 2 summers now, and it's been very popular. And it is actually time to start thinking about next summers, because we want to make sure we get it in the mailboxes. We had it in the mailboxes the first week of June, because we didn't want to miss any events. So that means it needs to be finalized and in production in May, which means you start gathering dates pretty soon. So, so please take it home, look at it. You all may be aware of things that I'm not aware of. Julia from Explore Washington helps me put this together, and so we look at everything, all the events that have been submitted, but then we also go, and she's wonderful, because she'll look at past calendars and say, wait a second, I'm not seeing this.
Yeah.
Are they doing it again? Do you know? And I'll call and find out. So, so we want to just keep that in mind and think about that. I have this postcard budgeted in my EDC budget. And it was interesting because I had to present my budget today. And the selectmen asked if we should include enough to do maybe one other mail, start a line item for the Arts Council. And I enthusiastically encouraged that. We'll see where that goes. I don't know. This one is, we've got at least this one. And we can change that. It doesn't have to look just like this. We could decide that maybe something else works better. But that's kind of where we are for money for next year. And then we'll work on a proposal and ideas if we want to, if we have other ideas moving forward. So yeah, it wasn't like they were about to plop $10,000 into that budget line. They were thinking more like 1,000 or 1,500, which is enough to, 1,500 is enough to do an additional mailing or something else. It's a little bit of money to do something, to promote an event or put something together. So that's
nice.
Thank you.
Nicely done.
Thank you. We get a lot of really great feedback. Like, people put it on their fridge for the summer because it's got really everything, kind of all the big things. Oh, Sarah, you know what? I forgot, you guys. You're online. Let me hear.
Oh, that's okay. So do you have a copy of that? Like, can you give one to Kent to put in our mailbox?
Yes. Will you do?
Okay.
Thank you. That's so
Thank
nice.
you.
Yes.
We have one on our fridge, like you said. We are the fridge people. So
Yeah.
yes.
Right. Well, that was
Yep,
kind
it's
of
great.
that was the intent, with the website and the QR code to bring you back to the events calendar for all the little stuff that might not be on there.
New things that came up afterwards.
Yeah,
and
and we mailed it to everybody in town, and then we printed 1,000 extra, which we put at Marty's and in the market, and I think the Hickory Stick had some out. And then I took a few small stacks. I brought them to Roxbury Market, to the Kent State Park, Litchfield, put them at that little info thing on the green. I don't know how long they stayed there. I think it's the Bantam, is it the coffee shop? I think they let me put them on the counter. So, at the beginning of the summer, I kind of try to distribute them, but that's another thing we can think about, if everybody took one little stack and delivered it with save me an afternoon.
I can help.
That would be great. Think of places where people might pick them up and venture in. I thought Woodbury would be good, but I didn't actually think of a place to put them. So yeah, so think about that. That's a vehicle that we already have that we can just use with the help of the council. You guys can help us make it better, and we can print maybe a few more if we want and distribute it wider. So that's one little thing. The other thing I brought is that we did discuss at the last meeting about the interest of possibly declaring a cultural district in our town. And Connecticut Main Street is actually having a webinar on that very topic on, let's see, where is it? It is, I think it's February 23rd. Yep, February 23rd from 10 AM to 11:30 AM, so for an hour and a half. And it's free to sign up. I'll send you guys all the email. I don't know if we want to do this. I'm not an expert on this. Steph sort of shared about that. That last meeting, and I know she would come back and talk to us about it again. I think she's actually one of the presenters. Yes, she's one of the presenters at this meeting, so. I didn't do a lot of research on the cultural districts before tonight. I didn't know how deep we would want to get into that. It was just something that had come up. I do think when talking about where to move for the future, the only other thing that had occurred to me is I do have the notes from the 3 previous meetings we had, which I can put online. Which had, and we could just sort of review those as potential topics. So we met in April of 2021, May of 2021, and then that meeting that I think most of you were at last, that was like November. And some general topics that came up, collaboration, marketing, artists and how we can support artists in town. And housing for artists, that was another topic. So these were,
Could you send those out with the email that you're
Yeah.
gonna send out as
so
well?
I will email the link to the workshop. And the notes from the previous 3 meetings, which I can also post on our empty webpage. Because these were all, I think, what did I guess I call them notes because we weren't really at council yet. We were sort of thinking about it, so.
I was always, I've been always thinking of having a sign on 202 Washington Cultural Center, right in the intersection of Beebrook, RDN and 202, right there. A nice old-fashioned looking
Yeah.
sign. Because I saw it somewhere in Madison or something, a sign on the main road that said, I think it was in that particular case was their Arts Association, and they had a beautiful old sign on the road. And I said, why don't we have one here on 202?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, and that came up at the last WBA workshop. We do have some signs out at the end of 202 at the intersection of 47 and 202, and then over near New Preston.
No.
But we want to revisit those.
Yes, because people tell me the same thing, and I say, but where is it? So if I haven't seen it,
I
it's
know.
not that visible. I just one sign only, not with a lot of little letters. So you're driving, you're not reading
Yeah.
a newspaper.
Well, first of all, I think it's a great idea. It's not easy. And then there's zoning and there's the Department of Transportation. There's a lot, but I don't want to throw all the reasons why we can't do it. I'd rather let's think of why it might be a good idea. So if you can, take a picture. So,
Of that, but I have to go to Madison again?
Yes,
Yeah, I have a file on my computer, and as I'm driving around, if I
Yeah.
see anything I like, I take a picture. I have pictures
Yeah.
of signs from Kent and Litchfield,
Yes,
and
yeah.
people send me pictures of signs that they like. So I'm creating a folder.
It's not that complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that complicated. I mean, why, if all the towns have done it, we can do it.
we can't just do it though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
We got the one sign that's.
Oh my gosh,
I
this
was
is-
in that.
Were you? I've heard of this, but I've
For a
heard,
long time.
but that doesn't. mean
But
we
you're-
can't.
That doesn't mean.
Yeah, now I think the ice is broken if like there's something off, so it's
Yes,
probably a little bit easier on the second go around to.
well, instead of just a particular arts organization, it will be the town.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different
Yeah.
subject.
Well, and it's interesting because if we go through the state's process of declaring a cultural district
Yes,
in our town,
right.
I think that, because it's a state statute. So I think there might be something in the statute
There you go.
about getting to put up a sign.
When you're allowed to do it, if you have the cultural district.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
You can't say anything anymore.
I do.
So
have
I
some-
may get the sign after 25 years.
Wouldn't that be amazing? You've been thinking of this for 25 years. If we
Well-
could manage to make it happen, it would make my day.
We'll open a bottle of champagne right around.
Bringing some for tonight. Like,
Yeah, it's good, yeah.
Council.
Oh, some
So-
mojitos.
And I hope we have something to celebrate, so you can bring a picture of mojitos.
Yes,
'cause that
definitely.
would definitely be great. So Public Act number 19-147, an act concerning the establishment of municipal cultural districts. What I'll do instead of reading it is I'll send it around to everyone. What Steph was saying when she was last here is that there's no real, it's just something you can do to say you've done it. Kind of, because I said, it sounds like a lot of work, what's the benefit? There's no money tied to it, and she said that there isn't yet, but she thinks there will be, so you go ahead and you get to do a press release, and you kind of have some thoughts around this cultural district and what it is, but she feels that it'll open up some doors down the road, so we can dive into that, and maybe it'll let us put up a sign. No, you know,
I think it's prestigious too,
well,
to pass by that town for people to say, oh my God, Washington, you know. Cultural center of Western Connecticut. You know.
well,
Let's turn around here and see what they have. You know.
so I will send, when I send the information about the webinar, I'll also send out the act.
Yeah.
I'll look it up again. Just so you can see what it is. I feel like there was some, I think Steph had put some information together about it too, like reasons to go ahead and do it. So we can share that.
I just have to bow out now.
Oh, is it dorm
Yeah,
duty?
it's okay.
Okay.
I'm on dorm duty, so, yeah, so.
We don't want you to be late
Yeah, I
for
don't want to
that.
be late. It's Thursday night, so good. This has been great. I'm very, very excited. Thank you for letting me be part of this, and I look forward to it. To the chair. too. So thank you so much. Thank you.
You too.
You too. Thanks.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Sarah, I'll bring this home for you and I'll drop it in the mailbox. Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. Great to see
Thank
you. Thanks.
So the only other thing that I thought we might want to do is just throw out brainstorm ideas of because everybody had a reason for joining. So things that you feel we might want to take on as tasks, let's just throw out a laundry list and then we can kind of debate them, and not necessarily tonight, but you know, for our next meeting, we can do a little research and some data and kind of prioritize and decide how much do we think we can. But you know, what would make sense? I mean, I think they should be informed decisions, so we should, you know, come ready with your ideas and why, but did we have anything? Was there anything someone was prepared to share tonight about thoughts and ideas on what we should be doing?
Somebody,
Yes.
Oh, Sarah.
Again, this wasn't like planned out, but from what I said before, like, I think I would just like some aspect of it to create affordable opportunities for kids in town to be exposed to the arts, because it either is expensive or, like, right now I drive my daughter to Sharon every Saturday to do classes at Sharon Playhouse, And but when pre-COVID, when she was about to go into kindergarten, and this is just an example of like, because when I think of this town, I think of kind of like what Tracy was saying about like all these artists that are here. At St. John's Episcopal Church, Tom Dulac is a playwright, and that summer he wrote a play, like a version of Noah's Ark, and had not connected to the church, and he, you know, got a group of amazing people and kids like that. You know, I don't really necessarily see like in extracurricular stuff, like joined. I think they made it like $60 for like 3 weeks. It wasn't about like making money. It was just, and it was the most wonderful thing. And then they were going to continue, and then COVID happened, and then it never went back. But when I think of opportunities for kids, I always think of that it was like so inclusive. Like it didn't matter how much money you had, like you weren't breaking the bank to sign up for this. And so I guess, I know I'm being very vague, but something of that sort, I would love to make a goal of the committee, doing something like that for kids.
I love that, and I think it kind of ties into something we had talked about at the EDC. I think it was even listed in one of our goals a few years ago, about at least inventorying and making available all of the opportunities for children so that it was easy to find. We were talking about services for young families and how do we attract young families to our town, and we wanted to make it easy for parents to find out what's available. But I think because of COVID, ASAP, it used to be the after school arts program, their model has changed some.
Distinctively.
Yeah.
They're not after school arts programs, they used to be ASAP.
Yeah.
Okay, so they used to fill that role, that after school role, and they're not. And Simon, I know when you first got here, you came and met with me once, and you were kind of trying to think about like arts classes for kids and what was happening and what wasn't, and that was right as ASAP was changing. So I think there's an opportunity that's wonderful, like an opportunity, whether it's arts or music or you know, theater or whatever it is, to really look at what opportunities there are for children, and to see if we can kind of make people aware of them, and then help identify the holes, and see if there are some institutions out there that would be willing to help fill those holes, whether it's theater or dance or, you know, visual arts or,
All of them.
yeah,
We should just have all of them.
I agree.
I always feel that if I go to the Met or NYCB, Lincoln Center, it's all gray hair all the way down.
Mhm.
But if you don't educate the children to appreciate art, they're not going to be the future customers in the future. Because they have no interest, they were never exposed to it. I never understand that.
Okay.
We should make an effort on that. That should be a good item. And the Washington Art Association can definitely be part of it, you know. And
Absolutely.
then dance,
And I think there's,
too, you know.
whether it's
music.
something that the Art Association offers, or Plobolus offers, or if we can get ASAP to,
The Gonnery
do it.
School.
but there's also Parks and Rec, you know, if we find an artist and we need a, you know, insurance or whatever, we can try to offer something through there. So I think that's a great idea. Sarah, are you trying to jump in?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so just to like give you more background of ASAP, because I had a friend who used to work there. So they did change their model in terms of even just being a nonprofit. I know it wasn't working also financially for them, like just kind of offering programs here and there. So their model basically is that they go into schools, often in surrounding towns, sometimes to like Washington primary, but that they're heavily like school program based now, instead of, so like my kids used to do like ASAP, like my son, I remember, did Plobolus with Emily and was just like, can I sign up again? Like he like adored it. And Plobolus was going through ASAP to do that. And then it kind of fell apart.
And we
So,
still teach a ton of ASAP classes and they are all in school programs.
yeah,
As are the cooking classes and, they're doing, they have, some visual arts classes going on, but they're all happening. in the school. And it has to do with the funding. They're able to get the state or Department of Ed funding
Yeah.
from all of the various towns, whereas when they're trying to enroll kids at 10 or 12 or $15 per class, it just wasn't reliable in order to be sure they were paying the teachers. So I think, and they were getting the space and having, they don't have that resource either.
Right.
So
So when you say in school, you mean during school hours?
yeah,
Yeah.
Emily's in Torrington at 8:15 AM the last
Yeah.
4 days.
Yeah. I think, I think,
But I know that there's two other teaching artists working in that same school right now. We did Waterbury last winter or spring rather. And she goes to primary once in a while, but it's the littles right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but that's what my kids did for the last
My
several
kids
years
grew
too.
up
It's
doing
all
ASAP.
programs.
Yeah, my kids grew up doing
Yeah.
ASAP programs too. So that is a big hole.
Yeah,
I know a lot of parents also have noticed that like ASAP having left because they used to do programs on like half days
yeah.
and so even though they were kind of using it as, you know, like, oh, I'm still working, it was like our opportunity to expose the kids to the arts, like
Right.
at that moment. But I think maybe one of our resources, what you were saying, because it would be insured, like having Jen Pody as the new director of Parks and Rec, maybe she could partner with, you know, because I know she's looking to build programs too. So
Was Jen's doing Parks and Rec thing? Okay.
She's Parks and Rec and Senior Center. Yeah. And Simon?
Yeah, just thinking of some other things. This is a little dull compared to the exciting stuff that we're talking about kids, but it'd be great if the Arts Council could be kind of the go-to place that coordinates an arts calendar, so that we kind of know what's going on in the community, so we're not treading on each other's toes with events. And also a place for people who want to find out what's going on, whether it lives on the town website or somewhere else. You know, I think it would be great to have, you know, everybody putting their dates in so that we can just have one place to go.
So that has been the goal of Explore events calendar, and most people are pretty good about that. But do you feel
Is
like it's
that-
not?
No, I'm just thinking
I
of just the arts. Is that what it's
So
called?
yeah.
just the arts.
Well, could it be
Hmm.
coded?
We could.
So you could like have an arts calendar click button on Explore.
Kind of.
Monthly?
I don't want to create extra work, and you know, many of you may feel that's not needed, but I'm just wondering about people who are looking for just arts events and that could easily just, you know, go to one place and find it. But that's up to you, Michelle. It's your
But
call.
that would be
My feeling is I don't want to dilute or pull away from Explore because we spent so much time trying to direct people there. But I'm not against the idea of having, because you can tag it and you could just have a little button that says
Yeah.
arts calendar. And so they
And
just
it's
would have to
something-
correctly codify things going into the calendar, which I think is fine. I don't, and I would actually. I feel pretty confident that Explore would
just do it.
they would just do it, and then we wouldn't have to create a whole website.
Great.
And have blog about that,
Yeah,
right? So
Right.
there's the benefit of already having traffic. And if anything, as an arts council, we should try to think, maybe I've got some new brains here, help me find ways to drive people to that calendar, because that is the goal, is to try. And I've been, I mean, if you look at it now, we've got some of the big ones are on for June and July and August already, because I want them to hold the date, which, by the way, get on there.
yeah.
Because Library Luminaries is on there and a couple
Well,
others.
so Judy Black and Globulus's events are conflicting on June 17th, not in time, just on date.
Okay,
And so we are arranging possibly shuttles that will go up to gun school after their event to come to ours or something. But luckily Laura figured it out maybe 48 hours before our save the date went out or something. So that at least we had a response to people who wrote back very quickly to tell us that we had messed up. Even though they hadn't sent out their save the date yet, but that's.
Well,
that's
and
not-
are those both on
but-
Explore? I remember.
They weren't yet because they weren't publicized. Neither of us was at the point of actually announcing it. So while Explore does it, or if you're now scheduling something in the planning phase, I mean, we've had that date with the gun school since October, but
Well, see, that's where I
publicizing
feel,
it was absolutely out of the question because we don't know enough about the event yet. And so
well, that's
we
where,
need a DL calendar, like.
on the down low.
Yeah.
Well,
like-
I mean, I just put the block party on there for the WBA
Yeah.
with the graphic from last year and they're like very vague.
Yeah.
Cause it's electronic, you can go in and add, so you can just call it full date, blah, 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 so that everybody else knows, cause I want. When people are planning, I want them to look
To
at
be
that
looking
calendar.
at it,
Yeah,
yeah.
so when you reserve the Frederick Gun School last year.
Just throw it on up there.
There, label it, put your logo and
Yeah.
just say, if you don't even know what you're calling it,
Yeah,
just,
Abdo used to call me.
Yeah,
You used to call me and be like, our party is on
Yeah.
June, blah, blah, blah.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, oh, we're on tour, so we're clear,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's the only way that that's functioned for us before, and Judy Black used to do Sundays, so we didn't think to ask them. But yeah, the sort of like in advance of when you really know a lot about your event and calendar is still really tough.
yeah, well. I would love for people to start putting hold the dates on there.
Okay.
Because we're small, right?
Yeah.
We're talking SHAG and Palabolas and ASAP and library and blah. And. What did I miss?
Hollister House or Steve Rock or.
They don't usually do the same type of like big musical dance events.
Yeah.
They have picnics, they have daytime art.
It's daytime, it's.
Right,
less.
these are the biggies that we had in the evening, so, and we just don't want them on top of each other.
Agreements.
They do a fundraiser, but they. You should look at everybody else, yeah, it's not always in Washington, and they kind of look to see what else, they schedule around everyone else, so.
We don't have enough people to have two events. in the same
That
time.
really conflict.
Yeah, not the big ones, and not, especially
Yeah.
because the arts, these are all arts organizations. It's not like it's, a baseball fundraiser happening at the same time, although there's
Shag on one,
crossover.
at least it kicks off with a fundraiser. I mean, their first night, that gives it,
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, and they're on the calendar. So we're already scheduling around them. Everybody else who's trying to go on. There is another conflict.
There is, it's ASAP on the 3rd of June, I think, is the same day as.
This is last, I would say, this is last year's calendar. It's not, you know what? I can.
But it's
pull it up.
there. It's the 3rd of June, but I can't remember what the other event is.
I'm just gonna pull up the events calendar. And. Hold on, Zoom people, let's see. Where are you? Oh no. There you are. I'm gonna share my screen. Huh.
Where is it?
Well,
Where did it go?
it's.
It's only giving you the one.
It's this one, I don't remember if it's gonna let me. Choose
your
the
tab.
other window. All right, those of you at home, can you see the events calendar? Okay.
That's so
let's-
funny because I was looking at it already.
And-
so-
and also- And I'm trying to add something to it right now as
And I
well.
was trying to find how to get to June and I don't think it lets me go that far, but
Yeah, you
know,
just
It
keep
does,
scrolling
because
down, it does.
does
It
it?
does,
Okay.
because I'm actually trying to add something to it right now.
Are you right now?
Good job,
Yeah.
good job, if nothing else comes up tonight, so, wait, here we go, ASAP's 18, oh, that's Young Riders, it's not there. Moon Dance, I just found out, is on the same night as the Montessori auction, but here's June, there's the block party. There's luminaries. Here's Judy Black on the 17th. Oh, look, these are having
Globalist's thing isn't on.
And who was on the 3rd and what's that?
I think ASAP is on June 3rd, not April 3rd.
No, I'm which one?
This is Young Writers, though.
Summer solstice, June 3rd.
That's it,
Summer solstice, June 3rd?
Yeah,
No, it is?
I'm just trying to put it in. Yeah.
Uh-oh, well, that's 3 events now on the 3rd. People, you can't do that. What's going on? Because,
What's on the 3rd right now?
Kirsten, what you think is
I'm pretty confident.
that both of you,
I mean, I looked it up while I was meeting with Laura about our conflict.
so it's ASAP Judy Black Park or Pilates Judy
No,
Black Park, ASAP, what?
Laura
Well,
said that Judy Black is on the 17th.
June
me.
17th is Judy Black Park's event.
Yes, and that's right there on the calendar, I see it.
I see it.
And the celebration of young writers, that's the deadline for submissions, what's on the calendar right now. That's not the date of their event.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
90
so you're right, that's what it says, submission deadline, sorry.
submission deadline is
Okay.
April 3rd. But the event is June 3rd at the gun school. I mean, it's the reason that we're on the 17th, because that's what the gun school is doing, 3rd, so,
Okay, so on the 3rd is Young Writers,
yeah.
and on the 17th is Judy Black and Pilates.
Correct.
You guys are killing me.
Theirs is from 4 to 6 and ours is from 7 to 10.
Oh,
It's just, and you.
Okay, so we've got Pilates and Judy Black. I'll get more information on that, I'm just, because I have a postcard with
What's the
the
other thing?
other.
But what
Oh,
is that?
that's when
The 3rd is what?
there was
So
something
it's,
else.
so well, Simon, it sounds like is putting the solstice.
What
You
I'm
do
trying
realize
to
that's
put in.
early for the solstice.
That's
Right.
right. What I'm trying to put in is the summer solstice at the pavilion from 6 till 10.
On June 3rd.
On June 3rd,
On June
okay.
3rd. Yeah.
So,
So is that
but
one
it
of the
sounds like
Mojito
Young
Festival?
Writers is happening at,
So is that what the
I think
Mojito
that's-
Festival was?
I have a meeting with him.
so that's
Okay.
a conflict you might want to avoid, Simon, but we can
I'm
talk about
sorry.
that.
It's, well, I can't actually hear very easily what's being said.
Last year, yeah.
Sorry, so it sounds like the ASAP celebration of
Yeah,
young
yeah.
writers where they do their big fundraiser with a tent over at the Frederick Gun School is also June 3rd.
And do you know what time that is, Michelle?
Right.
We made 7 this year.
I don't, 'cause it's not on the calendar
It's
yet.
usually a little bit earlier in the
Has
evening,
to be a
because
different venue.
sometimes those folks have come to our event
Too
when we
fancy.
conflicted with
Right.
ASAP.
It's not
There's
my
no good
idea.
weekend in June. is my
Bruce,
decision.
drink.
So I feel like they usually do something like
Oh, they-
6 to
Well-
7:30,
Yeah.
but
Okay,
I'm not sure, they change it depending on whether
Control
you're doing
freak.
dinner.
You know what
so
I mean?
let's,
They want to
I
control
think it
immediately.
would be great if we could, even if it's like just a group email
Yeah.
between
You know,
Qua,
you know what I
ASAP, Judy
mean.
Black, and just try to nail some of this down. Graduation, there's graduations usually going on in there too, which is so interesting. Everybody's decided to pile into June because spring
What's
was
the
held,
deal with July?
and there's nothing. You got nothing but summer camp going on in July. So somebody put an event in July.
We're on tour.
Okay, well, so it's not. And there's
See you
one
soon,
event
York.
for August. Oh, and I did talk to, Kathy Kehoe. Shakespeareans is not happening this summer.
Right.
I know, which is very sad. They,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they're gonna be, but they're shooting for, they've already got like a date or intention for 2024. They fell short of their fundraising mark and had to, I guess,
Pull back.
do like fill the deficit that they created, and they're back on track and now looking to move forward. So we will not have that, which was August, I think,
August,
right?
beginning of August, the first
Beginning of
weekend.
August. So some of all this fun stuff that's supposed to be happening in June, maybe happen in July or August. I don't know. We thought, but we'll get that email maybe started tomorrow. For to get the dates squared away and on the calendar. And I would love, maybe I haven't been clear, and I've spoken to a couple of people, but I feel like getting that hold the date on there would be helpful, even without details.
Yeah,
Because
that would never have occurred to me. I'm not sure I could have.
I think Booked did that. So Booked is on here,
Yeah.
Memorial Library for September 9th, and if I click on it. It just says 6 to 8.
Yeah.
It's a time. Says join friends and family. There's no location and then no music, you know. They just chose a date. So. Just food for thought. But as we're looking at this event's calendar. Sorry, don't want to make you sick, but as I scroll back to the top.
Ooh.
Let's see, menu visit. I feel like there could be a way to sort it so that it is just arts events. If you want to, you know, that we could have some sort of like little button that just was arts only. It is mostly arts.
Right.
Legally.
I think it's, to me, it would be about filtering out like classes and workshops versus performances and events. That would, like, that's the thing to me that
Right, the visual.
seems like it would be the appeal of what to split. Cause I think almost everything in there is arts.
Right.
Maybe you could just put maybe you could just put a little subset of exactly what you just said, like performances, workshops,
Yeah.
so that you can click on a specific one. That would,
Because I wouldn't want to filter out IAIS events that are like kids workshop, like the maple syrup stuff and things like that are like really fun educational activities, although not arts, but I feel like those do belong in those classes that we're teaching. So
It depends how easy it is for the programmer, but I think it's great to have these Summit Nexus and our kids one or.
Yeah, I think we can bring that up. I'll put it on the EDC or I'll just talk to Julia. I think we could do that, especially when you're filling out the form. Let's just look at it real quick. Here's the post your event form. So select the type of so it's already got categories.
Mhm.
So I feel like
they've got to be able to use that data.
they could probably then have some kind of menu across the top so that you could filter and sort it yourself. It is interesting that arts and culture, education, family fun. Yeah, no,
Is there a way can you click on more than one field? Because arts and culture and family fun could be both.
I know,
Right?
that's why I was wondering if these categories are
Makes the most
exactly,
sense for us.
yeah, is this really what we're talking about?
There's a lot of beauty events.
I don't know where this.
I don't know.
I agree with you that July might be a better time for us to do the summer solstice, because in June, people will be exhausted from all events.
There's so many events,
Yeah,
the kids
it
are
all
just getting out of
happens.
school, like, you know, graduation is usually
Yeah.
like the 17th of June, like. I don't know why everybody decided to pack into June. It used to always be July was crazy.
I totally agree.
So,
We're doing it because we're on tour.
yeah, I guess.
Well, Litchfield Jazz happens all of July too, and
Oh, it does?
But at
yeah,
the,
and
at the
the
end,
camp starts on July,
at the end of July, they have it here,
right,
The
at the
Jazz.
end, they have
the
the
29th to the 31st, yeah.
Well, and
Well,
that,
that's the
that's like
festival,
the
but then they have
festival part.
the,
camp runs
they have
for
the
4
camp.
weeks
The camp.
and takes
Yeah.
so much.
Oh, it takes the school.
Yeah,
so
I
the
think campus is very full.
Okay, cause for those,
Yeah.
it
for the
doesn't
events,
mean
it's not a big
anything to
deal.
me.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have party people. All right, well, I will ask Julia at Explore about these categories. I feel like maybe we don't need to filter it by all of that, but maybe just a couple. You know, if you're, I get what you're saying, especially if you're looking for just the big events, things you can get that are not workshops or
Yeah.
book talks or something.
It might be worthwhile asking about the origin of that list too, because it might get refined now
Yes,
to help for other purposes, such as we're talking about.
right. Yeah,
Because I mean, I saw beauty on there.
Beauty,
What does that mean?
I have no idea. Well, and they, they are the experts. They've been maintaining this calendar for a long time. They know.
No, but I mean,
So they'll be able to tell me, I'm
they'll
sure.
be
They'll
able
be
to
like,
tell you right away.
it's there. Nobody uses
Just a
that.
generic list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it gave content, and substance to what was being put in, but now we're getting more sophisticated.
Yeah. I'm not seeing anything here that would fall under the library. What?
The library,
Oh,
just like you keep scrolling past the library events and I can't get in there.
I know.
I need some books.
They were, I think they said Sunday.
No,
I don't
they
know.
don't know when they're gonna be
I think
open.
Sunday's when they'll give us another update.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I talked to Audra today.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they've gotta order carpeting, it's gotta get installed, I mean, yeah, they've got a lot of work ahead of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
she just doesn't know when.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, events versus being able
Right.
for Jennifer to get her book.
We got an ancient Greek project, people, it's an emergency.
Are the collections okay?
The collections evidently are okay.
Okay, good.
It was right near the,
And the artwork
entrance.
is okay, but it's the,
yeah,
Oi,
I know.
Water is very damaging.
Very
People don't
bad.
realize that, you know.
It is. All right, people, well, it's 8:19. Do we have any other, I feel like we've thrown out quite a few good ideas of things to think about for our next meeting. Some immediate things to sort out on the calendar. And I think we've covered a lot.
yeah, I'll just say that if people want, oh, I got this great idea, we can put that on the agenda for the next meeting to discuss. Because we didn't, not everyone got a chance to say what they're excited about or what they want to propose, so let's just queue up with that next time.
Okay, that sounds great, and by then, maybe a few of us, I'm planning on attending this webinar, we'll see, we might have some more information to come back with on this cultural district.
Michelle, could you please tell me that time again? I was wanting to put it in my calendar and it got, I just couldn't hear the time for that.
Sure, it's February 23rd,
Yep.
10 to 11:30.
Great. I would be able to attend that.
Excellent. All right, and I will forward that email to everybody.
Sweet. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm leaving town first thing in the morning tomorrow, so it'll be on Monday, but. And all of this stuff that I said I would send, I'll send on Monday.
Okay.
All right,
Don't regret, but.
all right. If there's no other business, a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Yeah, nice. Second, that, and on favor. All right. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Great.
That was fun.
Very fun.
Thank you, everyone. Good to see you.
Yeah,
Bye.
you can see you on the computer.